Just one of the most sunny people I've ever met in my life. I mean, I'm willing to bet, though, back in the 90s, she was maybe bopping along to some Soundgarden. Erin Elmore, good morning.
Thank you for calling me funny. I'll take that all day long.
You are sunny. You are sunny. And you're also now...
I said funny. Am I sunny or funny?
Oh, you're both. You're actually both. You're definitely both. And
I'll take both.
So now you are one of Philadelphia's finest, but where were you yesterday? Tell me about yesterday, start to finish, because I have been pumping up the Salute to America All show.
So yesterday, on the 4th of July, the birthday of our nation, I was in Washington, D.C. Not just in Washington, D.C. I was, let's say, 20 feet away from the President of the United States.
Very nice, very nice. And how was the show? I mean, was it all it was built up to be?
I mean, that and more. You've got to realize it was pouring down rain. It was humid. It was sticky. It was hot. The place was packed. Mm-hmm. So you see these Democrats coming out. They have crowds of 100. The mall was standing room only. Everyone was shoulder to shoulder. It was completely packed. And the energy and the spirit and the birthday of America was celebrated properly.
What do you say to so many people in the media? You know, we played a clip earlier of Joy Reid, talking about Bastille Day and saying how that's good because that's against tyranny, not realizing that the United States Independence Day is separating from England. You had, Brian Schatz, Hawaiian senator, saying there's nothing patriotic about this. And you had all this buildup of people throwing shade on this event. How foolish do they look now?
I mean, they definitely have egg on their face. This is really about our military and celebrating our nation, our country, and all of the accomplishments that we have had and made and the strides that we've made as a country. And to say these things and to be so negative and dour just really reflects poorly upon themselves. And every single member of the military and the armed services should be a Republican because these Democrats are just making a mockery of their hard work and their service, their dedication to America.
And I mean, again, as someone, a native daughter of Philadelphia, I mean, have you ever visited the Betsy Ross house?
Of course.
Is it like a staple to do when you're a Philadelphia school kid? Like, is this on like the 5th grade tour? Like you just do it?
I mean, even further in the States on the 1st grade tour. I mean, it is check that box part of being an American and a huge part of Philadelphia, a huge part of the Philadelphia experience.
So you promise me now on Twitter, on your Twitter handle, Erin Elmore Esquire, put out some good restaurant recommendations nearby the Betsy Ross house, so people like me who are adults who want to go there, see the Betsy Ross house, pay tribute to a woman who was a Quaker abolitionist who created this flag. And also want to have a good meal and some beers afterwards. So please promise us you're going to do that.
I will do that and more. You've got it. Philadelphia is a great city. Come visit. I love it.
I actually do love it too. I mean, I certainly...
So much history.
The zoo is great. The museums are great. The restaurants are fantastic. It's definitely. I think as a Staten Islander, because we live right off the turnpike, we are used to going there. But for the rest of our listeners elsewhere in New York, I mean, I wish they would get on a train, get in a car, and go there. I want to ask you about, how Twitter and Google and all these media companies are trying to start censoring conservatives. Do you think this is going to backfire? Yeah, I mean, is it going to backfire, you think?
Well, I mean, I'm sure you're aware, and I find this to be crazy that the mainstream media really hasn't picked up what Project Veritas brought to light. Is that, they had someone from Google that came out undercover, and he said, listen, they want to change the outcome of this 2020 election. They are censoring content. If you put Hillary Clinton's name in, they have filtered the results that you're going to get to make them more positive. This is a real thing. Google is not a neutral third party. Twitter is not a neutral third party. Instagram is not a neutral third party. They are political activists, and they need to be regulated like utilities because they're now a public utility. They are not your friend. They are not your supporter. They are doing things that are actually motivated politically.
What do you think they're afraid of? I mean, I've heard jokes about this, where the best offensive tool Republicans have is just letting Democrats speak. Why? Yeah. If our side is so foolish, so dumb, so racist, misogynist, sexist, every ism under the sun, why wouldn't they just want to let us speak?
Well, because they know they're afraid. And what they think happened is their take on this is we were so wronged in 2016. We are the majority when they know they're not. They think they can fix this and correct this in 2020, and I assure you they cannot. But they think that they can change this, and they think that they were so, wronged by President Trump becoming the president that they can now become activists and change the outcome of 2020.
Well, as a bona fide Trump supporter, as you undoubtedly are, who actually gives you the most concern out of the Democratic field? Is there one person that stands out? Is there one or two people maybe that might give the president a problem?
I mean, here's the thing, and this is a long way to answer a short question. They've had 2 years to bring the best and the brightest, right? They've had 2 years to bring a competition and to change things. And the best they can come up with is Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, a white, pale, male, stale guy. And they don't come up with anyone that's clever or interesting or competitive. I mean, one after the next, it's boring, 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 and not competitive. So, truthfully, I don't think any of them are really competition.
I think President Trump runs away with this election in a landslide. I mean, it'll be close.
Without a doubt.
I don't think there's a question that it'll be close, but I think in terms of the Electoral College, I just don't see people in states that voted for Trump abandoning him. The Democratic Party hasn't given anyone an alternative. No. The economy is doing too well. The culture, I mean, this is something we talked about during the 2016 campaign. So much of it is about a culture war. And everything Trump predicted is happening. I mean, he got them to hate the 4th of July. He got them to hate the 4th of July. And he thought that people, the left thinks that people like you who went there with your family, your friends, to just, throw a big public high five at the military are these crazy, backward, people. Erin, I mean, how important you think is it for Trump to stick to this message of a culture war in going into the next election?
I don't even think it's anything that he has to say or do. I think the media is doing it for him. And, he just has to keep doing what he's doing and being who he is and being his authentic, true self. And this is going to work out just fine. But you know what? On a side note / hilarious note, I just love that Beto O'Rourke, on the cover of Vanity Fair, thought he was such a hot shot, such an up and comer, and then Mayor Pete comes along and steals every bit of his thunder.
Right, the next best thing.
Yeah, he's like, I speak Spanish. Pete's like, yeah, bro, I speak 7 languages. He's like, I can skateboard. He's like, yeah, I'm a veteran and I'm gay. So I find that to just be the most amazing, hilarious one-upmanship of the whole thing.
You're right.
Beto,
he's out there. He's out there flailing his arms, just hoping to check every box possible. And you're right. It was just stark for everyone to see. Look, for a Democrat, it's probably easy to beat up on Ted Cruz, right? It's pretty easy. See Beto on stage just failing miserably when he had to go up against bona fide progressives, people that were in many cases serious people, and he just, you're right, he looked like a fool. And this Pete Buttigieg guy, he's kind of likable. I think he's very likable. I think he's going to have a problem with African American voters just based upon his record and some of the things that he's done back home in Indiana. But I mean, he's an affable, likable, well-spoken, measured kind of guy. I think he's the most suitable, but I don't think he's going to get the nomination. I think you're right. Erin Elmore, people can find you at Erin Elmore at Twitter and ErinElmore.com. Thank you as always for joining us, and thank you for coming on the show when I was hosting it. You helped carry the segment. So be well, and I hope to see you in Philadelphia soon. I hope New York, Philly, let's make it happen. Always a pleasure. Absolutely. I tell you, have a great day. You too. I just think that this sort of, if you remember in 2016, Donald Trump, he's someone who